my blackness, giving rhyme or reasons. Black all the time, no matter the time of season. We spice up everything and add our flavor, we the seasoning. Hated by many, but admired by most. We the baddest from the U.S. to the Ivory Coast. We don't have to exert our power, we just simply ghost. We've been put down, let down, and hung out to dry. But through all of it, we still keep our heads to the sky. Black forever, forever. I'm unapologetically black. We rise like unapologetic, yeah, we're the chosen. From the streets to the stage, the power's awoken. Black magic in our veins. Feel the motion, warriors of change. Pushing through every notion. No chains can hold us, we break through like oceans. Educate, elevate, that's our devotion.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
I'm unapologetically black for all rhymes and reason. I give no apologies for my blackness, giving rhyme or reasons. Black all the time, no matter the time of season. We spice up everything and add our flavor, we the seasoning. Hated by many, but admired by most. We the baddest from the U.S. to the Ivory Coast. We don't have to exert our power, we just simply ghost. We've been put down, let down, and hung out to dry. But through all of it, we still keep our heads to the sky. Black forever, forever. I'm unapologetically black. Still pushing through the struggle, can't keep us down. Voices loud from the underground to every town. Shades of excellence, ain't no hiding, won't back down. From the roots to the U.S. in the city's crown. Stay shining bright despite the hate they lay. Our culture's fire burns strong night and day. Black forever, the spirit won't decay. Raise the banner high, cause we here to stay. Sally, stay shine, but go in the level I thought, so I cry, Sally. Angel, you command, your thoughts are demands, and it's turn on Sally. I'm unapologetically black for all rhymes and reason. I give no apologies for my blackness, giving rhyme or reasons. Black all the time, no matter the time of season. We spice up everything and add our flavor, we the seasoning. Hated by many, but admired by most. We the baddest from the U.S. to the Ivory Coast. We don't have to exert our power, we just simply ghost. We've been put down, let down, and hung out to dry. But through all of it, we still keep our heads to the sky. Black forever, forever. I'm unapologetically black. We rise like unapologetic, yeah, we're the chosen. From the streets to the stage, the power's awoken. Black magic in our veins. Feel the motion, warriors of change. Pushing through every notion.
Black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, I'm blacker than black.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur and X at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. All right, hello, Vince. I am from the UK. 504 Nola, Parole, Anita. All right, Fat Boo, where have you been? Buckhorse, DC. Anita Harrell, Nubian Cutie is here. All right, let's get into it. All hell nah is in the house. All right, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and shout out to my moderators putting in work. Okay, so hey, Deronda. All right, so let's get into it, honey, because I heard that Trump had threatened to sanction Russia, and I'm like, Trump threatening Putin? Yeah, there's got to be something to this story. Okay, so let's get into it, but before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right. So don't forget, you can purchase 12 tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get into it, honey, so we can get up out of here because I'm about to hit these streets. How about y'all? How about y'all? Queen Shay said, looking lovely like always, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. We have to talk about this black family, the Smith family down in Sparta, Georgia, where one of my best friends is from. And they're trying to snatch up their land. 600 acres they have. This has been in their family for generations, and now they're trying to snatch it. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about it. Okay, so first, Trump. Now, after weeks of distancing the U.S. from Ukraine, President Donald Trump on Friday threatened to impose expanded large-scale sanctions and tariffs on Russia until it reaches a peace agreement with Ukraine. They say, based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, this is what Trump said. I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final statement agreement on peace is reached. Now, to Russia and Ukraine to get to the table right now before it's too late. That's what he posted on Truth Social, and not to mention he wrote it in all caps like he was so serious. Now, while speaking to reporters in the Oval Office Friday afternoon, however, Trump went on to say that he was doing well with Russia and that Ukraine was being difficult. Now, let's get into that because, see, I knew that wasn't going to last long. Just when they got all excited and said, wait a minute, Trump's about to piss off Putin because he's going to sanction them. And then Trump turns around and says, whole nother story. Well, I'm not shocked at all. Okay? Because the fact of the matter is, it was obvious to see, at least for me it was, that Trump doesn't even like Zelensky. Okay, the way he went in on that man at that meeting, honey, talked to him like he was a child, like he was being scolded for making bad grades in school, and then kicked him out of there, didn't even have the decency to feed him lunch. I absolutely loved it. Okay, so let's get into it.
Sanctions against Russia. Here are his words, quote, until a final settlement agreement on peace is reached. His position is in response to what he calls a pounding by the Kremlin on Ukraine. So if you're thinking that's a shift, you're right. This sudden shift from the White House comes exactly 1 week after what we brought you live, that Oval Office meltdown between President Donald Trump and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. We now know officials from each country are set to meet again next week. That will happen in Saudi Arabia for what they hope will be a reset. So let's go live to Washington and CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. Good to see you, Nancy. So what are the options on the table for the president here when it comes to hitting Russia with sanctions?
Reed, it's surprising that he is floating this in the first place. He has been so critical of Ukraine over the past few weeks. Very little criticism for Russia, which is something that has troubled U.S. allies in Europe and around the world. But now suddenly he's saying that he may want to punish Russia after all for what he describes as pounding Ukraine on the battlefield. And our Jennifer Jacobs is reporting that this punishment could take a few different forms. One option would be to tighten oil sanctions on Russia. Another option would be to sanction Chinese banks that do business with Russia. That would put us into conflict with the Chinese, but that is also on the table. And then a third possibility is that he could sanction all of the Russian banks that the U.S. hasn't sanctioned already. That list is not very long. The U.S. has already heavily sanctioned all areas of the Russian economy, but there are still some Russian banks out there, we're told, that haven't been hit with sanctions yet. So that's a third possibility.
Well, while you're there at the White House, I got to ask you about this because there are multiple things breaking this hour, Nancy. A letter to Iran from the president on nuclear deal negotiations. What can you tell us about that letter?
The first contact from this White House, the president's second term, and the Iranian government. The president said Iranian officials said a short time ago they haven't received any letter from the president of the United States. So we're not sure where things went awry. One of his top national security aides, his Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, yesterday didn't seem to know anything about a letter. And so we're going to have to be digging into this further to try to figure out if that letter was in fact sent, who it was sent to, and why or why not, why they haven't received it, if that is in fact the case.
All right, so let's go from the president's international endeavors to what we're talking about domestically. His Education Secretary Linda McMahon was asked about the potential dismantling of the Department of Education on Fox News this morning. Let's talk about this after we roll for our viewers what she said.
We've heard that he could be signing this executive order today to abolish the Department of Education. Is that coming today?
I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of the president. I think you'd have to check with the White House. I think he certainly intends to sign the order, and we've talked about it. He's made it crystal clear since the time he was running for president that this is his intent. He's been very clear about it.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there, you guys. You all heard it now. They were quick to report on it, but then Trump came back and said something different right after. We'll get to that in a second. I know Vince says, Queen, you went off the air for about 10 seconds. I know, honey. I looked up and it said my browser lost connection, so I had to go out and come back in. Sorry about that. Okay, so now let's go to what Trump said next. Because first of all, I don't think Trump wants any smoke with Putin. Okay, that's what I think he doesn't want. Please don't make Russia and China mad at us.
Trump
the
might be
last thing he
shifting
needs
his
to
tone
do.
toward Russia. He posted this on social media, quote, based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions, and tariffs on Russia till a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. To Russia and Ukraine, get to the table right now before it is too late. Thank you. But that posture didn't last long. Hours later, he had this exchange with a reporter.
President Putin is bombing Ukraine.
Yeah.
Do you still believe him when he tells you that he wants peace?
Yeah, no, I believe him. I believe him. I think we're doing very well with Russia. But right now they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine, and I'm finding it more difficult, frankly, to deal with Ukraine. And they don't have the cards. They don't have the cards.
From large-scale banking sanctions to we're doing very
Wait a second now. Wait a second. Now, he was just talking about giving the smoke to Putin, hitting them with sanctions because they're pounding the hell out of Ukraine, then comes back and says, just hours later, mind you, and he just can't hold it. He does not like Zelensky. That's all there is to it. Comes right back saying that he's finding it difficult to deal with Ukraine and that they don't have the cards. Why does he keep saying that? Like he's constantly reminding them they don't have the cards. Like if it wasn't for the U.S., they wouldn't be doing anything, okay? And then the day, okay, yeah, the classic one said double talker. Exactly. Exactly. He just can't, but see, here's the thing. He can't even hide it. It's so obvious he doesn't like those people. I mean, he kicked that man up out of there. It was just a shame the way Zelensky had to go out of there with his tail between his legs. Okay, please pay attention. Or his head between his tail. It was absolutely crazy. Hold on, what did I just do? Hold on, I'm gonna have to pull that back up. Hold on, guys. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it was just a shame. Didn't even give the man lunch. Okay, they had lunch prepared, and the lunch, they said, went uneaten.
President Trump might be shifting his tone toward Russia. He
Okay, so let me fast forward. Hold on, get back to where we were.
Bombing the hell out of Ukraine, and I'm finding it more difficult, frankly, to deal with Ukraine. And they don't have the cards. They don't have the cards.
From large-scale banking sanctions to we're doing very, very well with Russia in just a few hours. Again, like in that Oval Office confrontation, President Trump said that Ukrainian President Zelensky doesn't have the cards. He also doesn't have military aid and some intelligence sharing, which the president has paused. Today, President Trump also suspended Ukraine's access to certain commercial satellite imagery purchased by the U.S. government. Ukraine uses the imagery to track Russian troop movements. That news comes as Russia launched a major assault on several regions across Ukraine last night. 70 missiles and almost 200 drones were used. Two U.S. defense officials tell CNN that the U.S. is still sharing intelligence Ukraine can use to defend itself, but it has, quote, scaled back sharing intelligence that could be used to go on the offense. Today, the president was asked about the attacks and the pause in aid.
Do you, Mr. President, think that Vladimir Putin is taking advantage of the U.S. pause right now on intelligence and military aid to Ukraine?
No, I actually think he's doing what anybody else would do. I think he wants to get it stopped and settled, and I think he's hitting them harder than he's been hitting them. And I think probably anybody in that position would be doing that right now.
And joining me now is John Bolton, who served as National Security Advisor to the President during his first term and as U.S. Ambassador to the UN in the George W. Bush administration. Ambassador Bolton, thanks for being here. How does this president go from talking about sanctions in the morning against Russia to essentially saying their strategy of pounding Ukraine is what anybody would do in this situation and taking advantage of the president's position?
Well, because
I mean, let's just keep it a buck. That is what anyone would do. When you're in a fight or you're in a war, your objective is to win, right? So of course that's what anybody would do. They just try so desperately to get Trump to say something negative about Putin, but he just won't do it.
I think he knew that the so-called threat this morning was totally hollow, as did Vladimir Putin. And he did it simply to try and show some kind of balance, given the things he had said about Zelensky and the Ukrainians. If you look at the statement about the actual threat, he threatens three things: banking sanctions, sanctions, and tariffs. Now, I'll assume there's banking sanctions are just a subset of sanctions. I don't know why you would have two separate things. But let's take tariffs first. I don't understand it. Who knows? But on tariffs, Russian exports to the United States last year, the only year we have full statistics, were a little bit less than $3 billion, which is trivial compared to the total volume of U.S. trade with the rest of the world. And in fact, in 2021, in other words, the last full year before Russia's invasion in 2022, they were about $30 billion. So over this period of time since the invasion, U.S. imports from Russia have already shrunk 90%. So the tariff thing is effectively meaningless. Banking sanctions, if there are banking sanctions we haven't imposed on Russia, I'd like to know why not. But in any event, as with really all the sanctions that have been imposed, and this is a general problem for sanctions, Russia has very successfully evaded, particularly the financial sanctions, moving through China's opaque financial system to get into global markets. So I think Putin completely understood that threat was totally hollow.
It seems now the U.S. is not doing cyber operations against Russia, according to reporting. We've mentioned new reporting that the Trump administration has suspended Ukraine's access to commercial satellite imagery purchased by the U.S. government, which comes after the pause, obviously, in U.S. military aid and the sharing of intelligence. How long do you think the Ukrainians can hold up without that kind of support?
Well, and it's a question of what other NATO members may be able to supply them. I think it's really despicable to stop providing the intelligence to Ukraine. This is all part of how Trump does business. It's all personal. I know this is hard to understand, that people think there's some policy behind it, but it's not. Trump believes that U.S. relations with other countries are embodied in his personal relations with the foreign heads of state. He thinks Vladimir Putin is his friend. He's never liked Zelensky, not since the famous perfect phone call in 2019. And this is what you're getting. But if I may come to this order suspending offensive cyber operations against Russia, this is a huge mistake for the United States. Forget Ukraine. This isn't going to make Russia more eager to come to the table. It's the rest of Trump's policies abandoning Ukraine and taking Russia's side that prevent Russia from coming to the table. Why should they negotiate when Trump gives them everything they want? And even more importantly, I think the cyber operators would tell you that part of what's important here, dealing with Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, any of our cyber adversaries, is to have what they call persistent engagement. If you're not always probing the Russians, you're giving them a chance to tee up their own offensive operations. If there were some deal here, a momentary truce, that'd be one thing. This looks to me like just another Trump giveaway.
And just so I'm clear, is it true that Russia is always probing the U.S. and civilian infrastructure and hospitals and electrical systems to try to see weaknesses?
I think that's clear. The Russians say, "Oh, it's not Russia. No, it's some troll farm operating under some fake name, some cutout operation." But they're doing it all the time, and really, I think we've improved our offensive game beginning in the Trump administration when we loosened Obama administration restrictions on offensive cyber. But cyber's like any other human domain. If you're not probing the adversary, you're taking risks for America. Again, forget Ukraine here. That's not part of the equation. This is backing away from dealing with the Russian cyber threat. I think it's a big mistake.
Ambassador Bolton, I appreciate your time.
Okay, so you all heard that. At the end of the day, Trump was really just BSing. Okay, he gave them an empty threat. That's what he did, because you heard what that man said. Basically, the sanctions he was talking about giving them wouldn't even faze them. Okay, all right. And then you heard him say that Trump has never liked Zelensky since that phone call in 2019. I told y'all he's never liked that man. Never. All right, and he clearly loves Putin. And that's what he does do. Okay, so it's safe to assume that he's going to stick by Putin at the end of the day. Hold on. David says, tell him to think of them as Palestinians. Okay. Vince said, good idea is you don't want a queen tongue lashing session at TC Dan. TC Dan, do I need to get on you? Vince I am said Trump needs to sit down somewhere with that empty threat. I know, right? Like he was really saying something, but he was just saying that just as a cover, because we already know he went in on Zelensky the other day. Okay, but then he couldn't even hold it. He had to come back and talk trash about Zelensky. He just can't help himself. I'm telling you, Trump is so very vindictive. He's never going to let Zelensky live that down. And then after being kicked out of the White House, fed no lunch, scolded as if he were a child by J.D. Vance and Trump, what did Zelensky do? He had to come right back and say that now he's ready to negotiate and make a deal. After all that. Okay, but now let's talk about this real quickly before we get into these people that are in danger of having their land snatched. Let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried, because that's who's in jail with Diddy. And he said Diddy's been real nice. You know, that doesn't surprise me. Said Diddy's been real nice to him and everybody. I bet he has been. I mean, they already said he was going around giving whole motivational speeches and trying to tell people to keep their heads up and all of that, as if he's getting out anytime soon. Diddy, keep your head up, why don't you? Okay, please pay attention. Diddy just might be getting out. I don't know. Diddy feels like they don't have anything on him.
Now to Sam Bankman-Fried and Sean Diddy Combs. Bankman-Fried says he shares a dormitory-style bunk with Combs. Chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has the story, and Aaron, Combs is also facing some new allegations.
He is, and this is the first time, George, we're hearing from Sam Bankman-Fried since he began serving his 25-year sentence. He says he's working on an appeal, playing chess with armed robbers, and he says his fellow inmate Sean Combs has been kind.
This morning, the former poster boy of crypto, who prosecutors said ran one of the biggest financial frauds in history, is speaking from the decrepit, sometimes violent jail where he's being held. Sam Bankman-Fried talking to Tucker Carlson.
The place I'm in, I'm not in physical danger.
How you doing, Sam? In 2023, Bankman-Fried was convicted of stealing billions from customers of his crypto exchange FTX. Bankman-Fried telling George Stephanopoulos in 2022 he accepted responsibility.
But you're ultimately responsible.
And ultimately, absolutely. I should have been on top of this. And I feel really, really bad and regretful that I wasn't. And a lot of people got hurt. And that's on me.
Now, Bankman-Fried is sharing a dormitory-style living unit with music mogul and accused sex trafficker Sean Diddy Combs, who just yesterday was charged in a new indictment with forcing at least one of his employees into sex.
He's been kind to people in the unit. He's been kind to me. It's a position no one wants to be in.
Bankman-Fried says he's working on his appeal, reading novels, and playing chess with other inmates.
And as for his fellow inmate, Sean Diddy Combs, he has pleaded not guilty. He's in court next week, Michael.
All right, Aaron, thank you for bringing that to us.
All right, well, if he's in there with Diddy being nice to him, honey, at night, he might want to sleep with one eye open. That's all I'm saying, okay? Might need to sleep with one eye open, okay, if he's lying next to Diddy at night, okay? Please pay attention. Did you all see his hair? Good Lord, did y'all see how matted his hair looked? They don't let you comb your hair in prison. They don't let you comb your hair in jail because it looked a whole hot mess, honey. It looked like a rat sitting on top of his head, honey. It was very uncouth is all I'm saying. Claudette said, butt against the wall. TC Dan said, maybe both eyes. You all are nefarious. Listen, I'm not going to talk trash about Diddy anymore because Diddy just might get out. Okay. I don't have time for it. After all these nefarious lies people have been telling and everything that's coming undone, honey, whew, please don't let Diddy get out, okay? If Diddy gets out, I'm snatching down every video I ever did about him, which is about all of them. Okay, so listen, but all seriousness, let's talk about this black family. Now, this is really a serious situation. These people have generational wealth. Okay, their land, these people want to snatch their land up, and the judge already gave the railroad company authorization to do so. Black family won't back down after court allows railroad to take their land. After a judge ruled that a railroad can take their land, landowners in Sparta, Georgia are appealing the decision to the state Supreme Court. This is a darn shame. Now, this is the couple right here, Diane and Blaine Smith. That's them right there. And so now let's talk about it, because here's what's going down. So Diane and Blaine Smith were hurt but unsurprised when a Georgia Superior Court judge ruled last week that a railroad company could seize their land despite the refusal to sell. For nearly 2 years, they've been fighting to stop Sandersville Railroad Company, a 130-year-old white-owned business, mind you, from building a 4.5-mile rail spur through a historically black neighborhood in rural Sparta. Now, what I want you all to think about is when they usually do these things, confiscate land based on eminent domain, and they say it's for a railroad or they want to build a street or something to go through there, y'all notice that it's almost always in predominantly black areas of towns? Yeah, but let's continue. So anyway, the company initiated eminent domain, which is a process that allows the government to seize private property for public use. However, property owners must receive just compensation. Now, the proposed spur would cut through parts of the property Blaine and his siblings inherited, which includes 600 acres acquired by his grandfather in the 1920s. Growing up, he farmed, fished, and hunted on the land. His family cultivated cotton, fruits, vegetables, and timber. They raised pigs, chickens, and cows. Not only has it been used to feed generations, but to pay for some family members' education as well. Currently, his brother Mark Smith and his wife, Janet Page Smith, they live on the land. Now, Sandersville Railroad wants 11 acres from Blaine and Diane's 3 parcels. The company also wants 6 acres from his cousin, Marvin Smith Jr., and his wife, Patricia Smith, and about 2 acres from his nephew, Ahmad Lee, according to filings with the Georgia Public Service Commission. Now, with a railroad just a few hundred feet away from their house, it would disrupt their peace and run through the middle of the land where Blaine plants his trees. Can you imagine what a damn disruption that would be? First of all, you can't even sleep good at night, or you can't even rest during the day. A railroad going through your land and on your property, mind you. Okay. So anyway, goes on to say, He's also worried about the potential damage to the property from hazardous products that he thinks will be transported on the tracks and people trespassing. Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't even have any privacy anymore. Their land would be like just open to the public. Okay, what about kids roaming across railroad tracks and all kinds of stuff, and people just taking it upon themselves to just waltz onto their property? So anyway, Sandersville Railroad rebutted the statement, claiming no hazardous products will be shipped on the line. How can they guarantee that? Maybe not now, but sometime in the future, perhaps. They can't guarantee that. They say, we've had to fight to keep this land. It's always somebody coming to try to bamboozle us out of it. There's people trying to come hunt on it and trespass on it. It's going to be easier for them to do it if we put a railroad through the middle of it. You ask me what things bother me. You ask me what things bother me about it. I mean, everything bothers me about it. So despite those concerns, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Craig L. Schwal Sr., in a ruling on February the 4th, upheld a previous decision by the Georgia Public Service Commission that the rail spur is necessary for Sandersville Railroad to connect industries, and that it serves as a public purpose because it opens a channel of trade through East Middle Georgia. Well, y'all need to take that shit somewhere else. That's what I was saying. Excuse me, don't let me get mad and get to cursing, honey, because I just find stuff like this egregious. Okay, this kind of stuff just gets on my nerves. Leon said a double standard. Yes, absolutely. Okay, and then Fresh Air said toxic derailment spill. Exactly, anything could happen. Let's not forget about those, right? So anyway, goes on to say, now, in a statement, a spokesperson for Sandersville Railroad said the company is pleased with the Superior Court judge's decision and said the spur is critical infrastructure that will open channels of trade for local businesses, reduce truck traffic, and serve the public with minimal impacts. They also said they're committed to working with the community throughout the process, saying that we understand some of the property owned by the Smith family is special to them, given their heritage, and we regret that they may have felt that our initial offers based on independent appraisals were not adequate. First of all, it's not about the amount of your damn offers. This is what they don't get. People don't want to sell their generational wealth, okay? They would rather keep land than have cash for it. That's just how smart people feel. I'd rather have my land than somebody come to give me cash for it. He said they're talking about the offers were inadequate. They don't want your offers, period. They don't want you on their land. So anyway, they go on to say, we would welcome the opportunity to re-engage in meaningful conversations about how both the landowners in Hancock County can benefit from the Hanson Spur. Ooh, honey, I'm not even going to tell y'all what I would do in this situation, but let me continue. Now, however, the landowners, which consist of Black and white families, say they won't be discouraged from the ruling. The Institute of Justice, which represents them, is appealing the decision to the Georgia Supreme Court. They say, we're going to fight till we can't fight anymore. That's what Diane said. So in 2023, Tarbutton made plans to construct the rail spur that would connect the Hanson Quarry, a rock mine owned by Heidelberg Materials, to a main train line along the nearby highway. But the company needed portions of property that from 18 owners along Shoals Road to make that happen. Now, a spokesperson added that the request is for narrow strips of land that are between 2 and 7% of the property owned by the various owners. A majority of the 18 landowners already have agreements with Sandersville Railroad. Now, he touted the project would create 20 temporary construction jobs, a dozen permanent jobs averaging $90,000 a year in salary and benefits, and bring in over $1.5 million annually to Hancock County, where the median household income is nearly $34,000. Okay, this is what they said in an email. And if the proposal moves forward, local officials hope this could attract future businesses and improve economic growth. So they're trying to build up the town. Okay, but not at my expense. Okay, sorry, not sorry. However, Black landowners have consistently expressed concerns that the railroad would damage their homes, cause noise pollution, and result in the loss of land that has been passed down through generations. Tarbutton moved forward and petitioned the state's Public Service Commission to condemn the land from the property owners using eminent domain. Now, the company contends they will build additional berms on both sides of the track to reduce any noise from the train in the quarry. They also said the train will only run once a day at least, or at less than 20 miles per hour to reduce traffic. Residents told Capital B they remain skeptical of such claims. First of all, I remain skeptical too. So you're going to sit there and tell them that you're not having any hazardous chemicals transported on the train, You're telling them that the train's only going to run once a day, less than 20 miles an hour. How can they guarantee these things? These are things that they absolutely cannot guarantee, okay? They can sit there. They're just trying to say stuff that they think these people want to hear just to try to smooth it over so they'll be in agreement with it. I wouldn't agree to any damn thing. I wouldn't care what they said. Now, last fall, the Public Service Commission unanimously approved the proposed rail spur during an 11-minute meeting, falling in line with the hearing officer decision in April. The Institute of Justice appealed the decision, arguing that the rail line does not constitute a legitimate public use. Okay, it doesn't. So they need to sit down some darn word. Like, I'm so sick and tired of them always trying to snatch up Black people's property under the bullcrap guise of eminent domain and all sorts of other nefarious practices. Okay, this is what they've been doing for centuries. Now, hold on. I'm going to start this investigation they did. Let's go to a 5-minute clip of this so you can hear what the people have to say themselves, owners. Likes up, everyone, please like and share, and also so you can get a good look at the land, because this is absolutely egregious. Okay, you know, this reminds me of that whole little situation down there in Mason, Tennessee, with Vice Mayor Virginia Rivers, whom I interviewed, if you all remember. Kind of reminds me of that. Like, nobody was thinking about that little small town. Nobody was worried about how they were faring or any of that until all of a sudden when Ford wants to come down there and open up shop, and then they're going to be bringing all these thousands of jobs, and it's going to be generating money to the town. Now, all of a sudden, the comptroller wants to come down there and snatch up the charter, and oh, let's put the people that don't look like me back in charge. Okay, because we don't need the people who look like me down there being charged when all that money's rolling in. I just want y'all to pay attention. This is how it goes down. Okay, this is nothing new. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on, I'm trying to see why this is not letting me start. Okay, there we go.
600 acres.
Yeah, you can see a lot of trees over there. You see the tops of them.
Never gets old for Blaine and Diane Smith. The history just as rich as the timber crops they've been farming.
We used to go down there. It's a special rock that we like to sit on.
Blaine's enslaved ancestors lived and worked on this Sparta land. Now, he and his wife own the very property. The family among the less than 2% of Black farmers nationwide.
My father farmed this land almost all of his life. My grandfather farmed it most of his life. He bought it back in the 1920s. During that time, he raised cotton, corn, peas, all kinds of vegetables. But it's still in the Smith family. Not one piece of it has gotten away.
Until this September. State leaders decided parts of the Sparta land are no longer theirs.
It's my property. You know, you don't have the right to take.
But a private company does have the right to take it, according to the unanimous vote from the Georgia Public Service Commission. The agency, comprised of 5 elected officials, oversees eminent domain. Eminent domain, the right of a government or its agent to appropriate private property for public use with payment of compensation. In Georgia, the process starts by first condemning the site. The Georgia PSC members agreed private company Sandersville Railroad could legally condemn 9 properties in Sparta, including parts of the Smiths, for the company's Hanson Spur project, a 4.5-mile spur connecting raw material producers to the CSX rail line in Hancock County. Essentially, hauling rocks that be used to build concrete. The company argues the train project will improve infrastructure, but the Smiths feel railroaded.
If you listen to the railroad folks, they say you're keeping your land. We're just taking a little piece of it. To me, we've got somebody who's coming through it like they are. They're devaluing it. They're defacing it. They're creating hazards through it.
They are just one of at least a dozen local eminent domain cases in recent years, from Atlanta to Newton County. Current statistics are few and fragmented, but Atlanta News First Investigates found nationwide data. A 2007 study revealed when eminent domain was used for private development, it most often impacted areas where more than half of the community was made up of people of color. Nearly half of the area's population sat below the poverty line. In the city of Sparta, where the developers are building the railroad, census records show 51% of residents live in poverty, the median income at $22,000.
We're here in a county that really needs new opportunities, new job growth, new tax base.
The railroad company president, Ben Charbutton.
Have an annual impact of $1.5 million.
That could make sense for a struggling town. It's how the company has pitched the project to residents. However, Georgia law states economic development is not a justifiable reason to take property.
It really is not supposed to be factored into an eminent domain case.
Well, they go hand in hand. I talk about jobs because that's what really matters to folks.
Charbutton says the train would only travel one round trip per day, 5 days a week during daylight hours, that it would not be a nuisance to landowners.
They feel like you guys are robbing them of their family legacy, of their family land.
Well, I understand that, and it's the condemnation process is a last resort. We have had multiple conversations with the landowners.
While several other property owners made deals with the company, 3 families are holding out, including the Smiths, in part over fears if they give up land now, the company could take even more.
Would you guys come back and take more land?
Well, I don't know exactly who you're talking to, but everyone I've dealt with that's a landowner, we've had very constructive dialogue.
So would you?
Now, did you all hear how he gaslit her on that question? Did you see how he deflected? She said, so would you all come back and take more land? He didn't say yes or no. That was a damn yes or no question. He didn't say yes or no. He said, I don't know who you've been talking to, but we've had constructive conversations with each landowner. Didn't nobody ask him how many conversations or what kind of conversations they had with who? Are you going to come back and take more? You know why he didn't answer that? Because yes, of course they will. And then they're talking about it's going to be coming through there once a day, traveling less than 20 miles per hour. Well, you know what? That may be true in the beginning. But what about down the line? See, they're lying, and they're also lying by omission. They're not telling them all the facts. Okay, once they get that railroad started and take over their land, they can come back and start saying they need more land to do this, that, and the third. They can start having want to say they need a train coming the opposite direction. They could be saying all kinds of stuff. Okay. At the end of the day, he's just sitting up there saying anything he wants, he thinks they want to hear. And he doesn't have any empathy or sympathy. He couldn't care less about what she's telling him. In his mind, he's thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to take this land because we have a right to take it. Okay? That's how people like him feel. Please pay attention.
You take more land if you needed it?
No, we're very clear.
A claim the Smiths don't believe.
Because when they come and take that property, it's gone forever.
It's why the Institute for Justice now represents the families against the railroad.
The railroad's position is just that I'm a railroad. Obviously, I'm going to benefit you, and that's just not enough.
The attorney filed this appeal in Fulton County Superior Court, alleging the PSC improperly granted Sandersville's petition that the project is not economically feasible and may not be a legitimate public use.
What the railroad has shown is that this track, if it even comes about, is going to promote the profits and the cost reductions for a couple of private companies, and that's all.
The Institute for Justice is using this as a money-making venture for themselves.
Hundreds of acres for 100 years and one single lineage. Altering it in any way is a price of progress that's just too high for the Smiths.
I go back to what my father said, keep the land. The land gives you respect, gives you respectability. Everybody around here knows that this is the Smith land down here.
Okay, so that's some real bull crap. Okay, please pay attention. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, railroads are not public. Okay, they keep talking about for public use. Are people going to be coming from town to hitch a ride on the railroad? So are they going to be paying a fee to get a ride on the railroad? No, they're not. This is not for public use. In general, railroad tracks and the land that they occupy are considered private property. That is a fact. And the access is often restricted or designated, has designated crossings, and trespassing is illegal and also dangerous, by the way. So how's this for public use again? I'm sorry. Make that make sense. Okay? This is just, more of I said so. Okay? This is just because, oh yeah, I want this land because I said so. Because I'm trying to do this for my company. Forget your generational wealth. Okay, we've always taken things from y'all. We're just going to keep doing it. We'll just say it was eminent domain and it's for public use. No, it's not for public use. Miss me with it. Okay, there's nothing public about a railroad. Okay, that's just the facts. That's just the fact. Railroads are private property, and so is the land that they occupy. All private property. That's how that works. So how is this eminent domain again? Yeah, it's not. It's not. But you see, they'll do whatever the hell they want to do. And then you'll just be stuck holding the bag because that judge who ruled in the railroad company's favor knew damn well that that wasn't right. Okay, now we're going to see what the Supreme Court has to say about all of this. The state Supreme Court. I'm going to be following the story to see how that all fares. Anyway, also annoying. But so let's talk about this woman. Like everyone, please like and share. Let's talk about this woman who got denied parole, and thank God. Because she, when she was a teenager, about 16 years old, she actually committed the first school shooting, okay, in the United States. So they say. She committed the first school shooting, shot 11 people, 2 of them died. And why did she do it? Well, because she said she didn't like Mondays. All right, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. This is a nefarious true crime story, honey. Please pay attention. Let me see, where do I want to start? Her name is Brenda Spencer. And what she said when she was arrested was that she don't like Mondays. That's all. I'm going to go to the report. Hold on. Now, the woman who opened fire at an elementary school across the street from her home in San Carlos was denied parole Friday morning, nearly 5 decades after the shooting that killed 2 adults and injured 8 students and a parole officer. I remember seeing this on one of those stories on the ID channel years ago. Please pay attention. This is all crazy. Now, Brenda Spencer was 16 years old when she shot a .22 caliber rifle 36 times from a window at her family's house across the street from the Cleveland Elementary School on January the 29th of 1979. The school principal, Burton Rang, and building supervisor, Mike Shakur, were killed, and 8 students plus a police officer by the name of Robert Robb were wounded. When asked why she did it, Spencer reportedly said, "I don't like Mondays." Y'all to pay attention, honey. That was her excuse. And she wants to get out of jail. She wants to get out of prison. No. Leave her locked the hell up, okay? Because there's a Monday every week, last I checked. And if she doesn't like Mondays to that degree, yeah, the last thing she needs to do is be out amongst the rest of us, okay? That's all I'm saying.
A woman who opened fire on a San Diego elementary school, killing 2 people more than 45 years ago, was once again denied parole today.
This is now the 7th time that Brenda Spencer has been denied parole. Our Jamie Chambers is live in Encinitas with how the family of one of the victims is reacting tonight. Jamie?
Good evening, Maria. Good evening, Andrew. This is just such a heinous crime that it's hard to process. It happened over 4 decades ago. Brenda Spencer herself is now 62 years old, but for those that have suffered such a loss, those scars, they tell me, have still not healed. It's a crime that haunts San Diego 45 years on. Brenda Spencer, the first American school shooter who shot 8 children, a police officer, and killed the janitor and the principal of Grover Elementary, was up for another parole hearing.
There's so much victim fatigue. It feels abusive to continue to have to speak to this.
Haley Ragg is the granddaughter of Burton Ragg, the World War II veteran and legendary principal of Grover Cleveland Elementary, who famously threw his students into bushes, saving their lives and shielding those children with his own body. Burton was killed by Spencer, and the loss of such a warm, caring, and heroic public servant has left the Raggs with a generational trauma. Because Spencer was 16 when she shot 8 children and 3 adults, she is eligible for parole.
For the 2022 parole and then now for the 2025 parole, our family, which are main victims to the case, were never notified.
The parole commissioners denied the Ragg family's ability to read a victim impact statement pleading to keep Spencer in prison, but allowed the letters to be added to the record for the parole commissioner's personal review. Spencer was again denied parole for America's first mass school shooting, but Haley Ragg says the judicial system seems to be hurting the victims all over again.
If you commit such a heinous crime as opening fire on children in school, will you be rewarded in any way? Will you be given grace? And our answer has to be no.
Brenda Spencer is expected to be back in front of that parole board in 2028. Haley Ragg says this time she's going to meet her there. That's the very latest. From Encinitas, I'm Jamie.
Okay, she shot 8 little kids, elementary school kids. And, you know, she said that she was doing illegal substances and all of that at the time, PCP and whatnot, whatever. And here's the thing. She said some real crazy stuff now. I don't buy any of it, but I'm going to go to this video where they interviewed her some years ago. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I mean, just woke up that morning and decided I'm going to kill people because I don't like Mondays. And then got her rifle and started shooting out of the window. Now, here's the thing. She had to be a good shot and very well trained because she was shooting these people across the street from where she lived out of her window. Okay? And this is a 16-year-old, mind you.
To once again get back to the morning of the shooting.
It's real because I did it, you know, and I take responsibility for doing, you know, the crime itself. I remember up to a certain point clearly, and that was, I guess, when the drugs started to kick in, because all that morning I had been drinking and taking the pills with the whiskey and stuff. Past a certain point, it just all kind of phases out.
I can hear people out there saying that even though you were on drugs, you were cognizant because you took the rifle and you took aim and you shot those people.
Actually, I wasn't, though. I really wasn't. And in the transcripts, how it came up that the scope was set off and it wasn't firing right. The weapon itself wasn't even firing right. They had trouble aiming it, the police. And it was, you couldn't aim with it because of how the scope was. It was knocked off.
So the implications of that are?
What I can figure out is basically I was just shooting at the commando types that I saw, and I didn't realize that there was people back there behind that. I saw the commando types, coming after me that I was hallucinating on, and from what I can figure out from the reports and all that, I was shooting at them, and it didn't really dawn on me or sink in that, hey, there's people back there, that are real people and stuff. So
now, do you all hear how she's sitting there lying? You all hear how she's sitting here lying, saying she didn't realize there was people back there? She knew damn well there was people back there. That's why she was shooting in the first place. She saw those little children outside of that school building. And that's when she decided to take her diabolical self to the window and fire upon them. Now she wants people to think that she didn't know there was people out there. Let's keep listening.
It's not that I was aiming or taking deliberate aim. It was that they got hit because they were behind what I was seeing.
In listening to you, I don't understand something. You were suicidal, you were on drugs, yet your father gave you a 22 for Christmas. Why did he do that?
To this day, I don't understand that, because the counselors had all told him that I was suicidal. If I had a child and the counselors had told me that, there's no way that I would have given them a rifle or a gun or anything.
Brenda, what you're really remembered for is you saying, "I hate Mondays." Did you say, "I hate Mondays"?
I don't remember saying that. Right now, we're trying to get some evidence that I did say that. I'd like to hear the tape. And it really influenced how people saw me and thought about, the whole case. It's just, I'd like to know that I actually did say that if I did.
If you said that, it makes you sound cold-blooded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, on PCP, you're liable to say anything.
Brenda, what I have read is you have no remorse about all of this, but I sit here and you're filled with remorse.
Well, it's not something that you just do and don't think about. You think.
First of all, she doesn't have any remorse. What the hell is he talking about? Saying, as I sit here, you do have remorse. No, she doesn't. Did she at any point say that she's sorry? I didn't hear it. And she's sitting there lying and acting as though she didn't mean to shoot those people. So that's not remorse. When you have remorse, you take accountability, you admit that you were wrong, and then you beg forgiveness. Okay? You actually feel sorry for what you did. She doesn't have any sympathy. Look at her. She's talking about it like she's just telling a story from the past. But let me continue.
Think about it constantly. You're the cause of people's dying. And I really don't want to cause them any more pain. I hope that they're all doing okay, that they're all, that I haven't scarred them for life.
Girl, shut up.
That,
damn devil.
They're able to deal with what happened and get on, move on, and that I haven't done any permanent damage, psychologically and stuff to them. I hope that they're able to continue on and live a good life and have a good life.
Does anybody besides me ever notice how these darn people who commit these types of acts are always lacking in attractiveness? Does anybody ever notice that? How they are, they have just don't have good features? Is it just me noticing that? I mean, I just think that these people wake up, look in the mirror, and get mad at the world and want to take it out on everybody. Okay? Let's go to the next clip.
But now she wants a trial after pleading guilty years ago. She wants out of prison.
Why should Brenda Spencer be let out of prison?
Basically, for a second chance, everyone changes. Everyone changes, and I feel that everyone deserves a second chance. I blew it the first time. I wasn't going where I needed to go and getting the help I needed to get. And I would like a chance out there to lead a normal life.
At the time of the shooting, Brenda Spencer says she was on the powerful drug PCP.
We were not aware of any PCP use in terms of around the time of the offense.
Brenda Spencer's attorney was Michael McGlynn.
Brenda did have a abnormal brainwave. She was diagnosed as being epileptic, and we believed that the reason for what occurred was more of a result of her being in a disassociated state than any kind of intoxication defense or illegal drug usage.
Looking at those pictures years ago, you did look like a zombie. And that was because of
the drugs, the street drugs that I used, and then after I was in custody, all the stuff that they were giving me, it was, you just follow orders.
Brenda Spencer claims reports were falsified during her legal process, leading to her plea bargain to 25 years to life, first-degree murder.
It's an outrageous statement.
I think it's nonsense, to put it politely.
The prosecutor in the case, Charles Patrick.
Here you have a 16-year-old kid who, granted, was maybe not the best adjusted kid in the world, to all of a sudden, for no good reason of any kind, to start blasting away at totally innocent school children, just leaves you flabbergasted. That's all I can say. It was just the utter senselessness of it.
Principal Burton Ragg was gunned down by Brenda Spencer, his widow, Kathy.
And as far as I'm concerned, she should never be let out.
I agree. And then sitting there still trying to tell lies and stuff. Like, girl, sit down somewhere, honey. You're a whole demon. Okay? Sitting there trying to minimize it, trying to make excuses. Talk about she was on PCP. Girl, you were not on drugs, okay? That was never in the initial reports. I read the story, okay? Didn't say anything about her being on drugs. Now she's conveniently coming up with that so she can use that as an excuse. No, you woke up with violence. That's what you did. You woke up with violence, honey, and you took it out on innocent children. All right, that's what she did. She knew exactly what she was doing. Hold on now, let's go to where she went before the parole board in 2022. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And then we're up out of here. Hit the like button, beloveds. Thank you in advance.
And 61-year-old Laura Troiani both had parole hearings on Thursday. Spencer, who in 1979, at the age of 16, opened fire on Cleveland Elementary School from her San Carlos home across the street, using a .22 rifle her father had given her for Christmas. She famously told a reporter she did it because I don't like Mondays. But when Spencer appeared for her hearing Thursday morning, she told the parole board she was agreeing to a 3-year denial, meaning she won't get another chance at parole until 2025. Deputy District Attorney John Cross attended the hearing and was prepared to oppose her release.
It was obviously a horrific crime. There were 2 individuals who were shot and killed, the school principal as well as the school custodian, police officer who was also shot in the neck. He survived. And then there were 8 children between the ages of 7 and 10 who were shot. It was a heinous and horrific crime.
In the other case, parole was granted for Laura Troiani, a mother of 2 children who in 1984 convinced 5 other Marines to participate in the murder of her Marine husband, Carlo Troiani. Laura was having an affair with at least one of the other Marines. She lured her husband to a remote area in Oceanside, telling him she was having car trouble. He was ambushed, shot twice, run over with a car, and died at the scene. The motive? Life insurance money. Troiani has spent 38 years in prison. She told the parole board she was sorry for her actions, that she was the victim of domestic violence, and that thanks to therapy, she is a changed woman. Quote, I am working to be the best me I can possibly be. I love myself today, and I am able to see others that there is light in them. I am able to see that they are human and they too matter. This is something I didn't have prior to having Carlo killed.
We believe she is still a danger, that she should not have been granted. She says that she's culpable, but then she turns around and minimizes what she did and deflects the blame. So that is quite troubling.
Exactly. See, they want to let people like them out, but not the Menendez brothers. That lady is lying. She's talking about that man was beating her. I doubt it. She was cheating on him with that other man. That's why she wanted him dead, and life insurance. Okay. If you're in a domestic violence relationship, the last thing you're going to be doing is cheating, because you'd be scared of getting caught and getting your arse beat. Okay. And then taking out a life insurance policy. Lady, please sit down somewhere. She had that man killed for the money, and because she was cheating on that man, that's exactly what she did. This is also nefarious. Under the lies people tell. Okay. The lies people tell. Now let's go to this last clip, because I believe this is the one where she sits up there and lies, Brenda Spencer that is, and flat out lies about when she was shooting at those kids. Talk about she was trying to shoot over their heads. Girl, please.
In 1979, Brenda Spencer opened fire on students and staff at Cleveland Elementary School in San Carlos, killing 2 people, injuring 8 others. Today, 46 years later, she argued for her freedom at a parole hearing.
I don't remember the shooting itself.
Cameras were allowed in this parole hearing 20 years ago, but not today. Spencer's bid for Freedom Friday was held over a video conference. Much of today's testimony we've heard before, including unsubstantiated claims of abuse and drug use. But there was some new information too, including Spencer's attorney saying she was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum, and if granted parole, she would live out of the area. Expletive San Diego, Spencer said in the hearing. I don't want to go back there because my victims are there. Spencer, who was 16 years old when she shot her victims with a .22 caliber rifle, claimed today that she was aiming over the kids' heads and that her actions were really an attempt at suicide by cop. She also said she didn't remember telling a reporter on the day of the shootings that she did it because she didn't like Mondays. But in closing arguments, the deputy district attorney said the children were struck in their lower extremities. She was shooting to harm and to kill. Spencer's attorney said in her closing remarks, she does not pose a danger to society. 2 victims also spoke.
I was shot an inch away from my heart and it went clear through my back.
Including Cam Miller, who I recently interviewed. Both argued Spencer should never be released, and they weren't alone. Cleveland Elementary's principal, Burton Ragg, was one of 2 people who died that day. His granddaughter didn't know about today's hearing until CBS 8 aired preview stories, and by then it was too late to file a request to speak. She was allowed to enter a statement that said in part, "We do not forgive school shooters. We do not forget those we lost. There is no world and no parallel universe in which what Spencer did was pardonable." After deliberating for just over 20 minutes, the board denied Spencer parole, saying, "We find you pose an unreasonable risk to society." Spencer's next parole hearing is scheduled for 2028.
Can't fit.
I mean, it's just a darn shame, and I want you all to pay attention. Now, she's sitting up there talking about, she said that she was trying to shoot over their heads. Suicide by cop. Yeah, right. Okay, she could have just done that to herself. Why would you want to harm innocent people? That she knew what she was doing. And now she's making up all these asinine excuses. Oh, it was the drugs. Okay. Oh, she was just, she was trying to shoot over their heads. Oh, I didn't see there was people out there. How many times has her story changed? Okay. You did what you did. Now sit there and rot. And at the end of the day, she's always going to be a danger, because there's always going to be Mondays, like I said. Okay, please pay attention. And that other woman that had her husband, who was a Marine, killed, she should never have been granted parole. Why would they let her out? That is real crazy to me. They let her out, but not Larry Hoover. Y'all need to really pay attention. Y'all need to pay attention. They beat that man. What did they do? They shot him and then ran over him, did all kinds of stuff to him, then left him out there. And she's the one who ordered it. And then she's not even accepting accountability either. How are people getting parole when you're not even accepting accountability and being honest about your crimes? Talking about the man was abusive. There was domestic violence. No, ma'am. They already said you were sleeping with one of those Marines that you hired to kill him. And then not only that, you did it for a life insurance policy. So please make that make sense. Talking about domestic abuse. Yeah, right. Okay, honey, these people are something else. Also nefarious. And then you see how they made all of those excuses for Brenda Spencer. Her attorney talking about she's on the autism spectrum. And what does that have to do with anything? Okay, she's on the autism spectrum. This is a reenactment, a picture from the reenactment they had of the case on the ID channel some years ago. That's when I first heard about it. Just a whole crook. And then now trying to pretend that she doesn't even remember ever saying that she don't like Mondays. Girl, you literally said it to the reporter when they first got there, according to reports. Now all of a sudden she wants to play crazy. They done wrote a book about her and everything called I Hate Mondays, the true story of school shooter Brenda Spencer. The first school shooter. Yeah, that's the face of school shooters right there, just so you know, in case anybody forgot. I absolutely could not. And pay attention to how they try to make up all these excuses for why people like her do these things. Okay, talking about some type of disorder, and no, she was on illegal substance and all of this and that. No, she's just a wicked, nefarious demon, saying that she looked like a zombie that day. Yeah, she did look like a zombie that day when they took her in, because she's a whole demon. Okay, the demons made her do it. All right. And so anyway, with that all been said, everyone please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Also, beloveds, make sure you double check to ensure that you're still subscribed to the channel, because you know people get unsubscribed every day. All right. And with that all been said, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your strong end, not the weak end, which keeps you in a weakened state of mind. And I'm out of here, okay? And if you missed the videos previously from this week, go back and check them out. Okay, ScrewTube doesn't like sending out the notifications sometimes. Please pay attention. Okay, so each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got